Today, we welcome the newest member of the Salem State University Warriors. From Lawrence, Massachusetts, please give a warm welcome to 7th grader Brian Davies. Brian is joined at center ice by Viking senior team captain Kyle Phelan and the president of Salem State University, Dr. Patricia McGuire Maservi, as well as by UMass Boston senior captain Travis Daniel and UMass Boston chancellor Dr. Keith Motley. All right, Brian, let's see that puck drop. Thank you, Brian, and we wish you the best.
So Salem State and Kyle Phelan wins the opening faceoff between the two. We'll see Phelan step out there with Nathan Milam in just a sec. Jim, while we have a moment with these two teams huddling around their respective goaltenders, what do you see as some of the keys to the game between these two programs? They haven't seen each other in 4 years, so how are they going to sort of assimilate and get into it, and what do you think each coach has told their teams before the game?
Well, I think that both teams are probably going to have a little bit of nerves off the drop of the puck here. Just trying to figure and feel each other out for, at least the first 10 minutes. Just they run their respective offenses and defensive plays and forecheck, and then I think after the first period they'll adjust accordingly. But I think that both teams and the coaches are experienced. They'll come in with a game plan that is based off some video that they've watched of the teams, even though if they haven't faced them, and they've also faced like opponents. So pretty much the game plan will probably be made around that, and then they'll just go from however the ice feels and stuff like that.
We'll hear it in our interview during the first period intermission. Talked to head coach Peter Belisle earlier today. He really said it comes down to the goaltenders. It's pretty typical of your normal college game, but especially here outdoors. And you look on UMass Boston side, Zach Andrews from Coral Springs, Florida. On the other side, Ryan Sutliff, this senior from Las Vegas, Nevada. You have to figure it's kind of even between the two in terms of how much outdoor hockey they get. It was interesting in talking to the UMass Boston coaching staff. A lot of focus was on the backdrop for these two teams. It's white at both teams' home arenas, but here you have the red seats on both sides. You even get a little bit of the monster where the Beacons will be shooting from right to left. How that will affect the goaltenders and even the players from their shooting angles. We're going to get this opening face-off between Nathan Milam for the Beacons and Kyle Phelan. Here, the referees for today's game, Terry Ober, Tom Croman, Steve Benoit, and Gary Young is the opening face-off taken by the Vikings. UMass Boston in their specially designed blue uniforms with white stripes here, going from right to left in the first period. As that puck takes a carom off the boards, a little bit of an odd carom. That was one thing the two teams were really hoping to do yesterday at practice, test out the boards, unable to do so because of unseasonably warm weather. It was raining and in the 40s, so we'll see how those two teams test out the boards early in the game and if that affects either side, as we've got a high stake, and we're going to see a face-off just to the right there of Zach Andrews. The Beacons will put out the second line of Frankie DeAugustine, Kit Sitterly, and Jeremy Finger now. As the face-off won by Salem State once again, but it comes over to the Beacons, and it'll be taken out of the zone by Frankie DeAugustine. DeAugustine looks to leave a pass over for Finger, and instead it's taken by the defenseman there for the Beacons. Back over to DeAugustine, who corrals the puck just behind the blue line, and that puck is stolen away at neutral ice. For Salem State, it's the second line of Tyler Perpich, Eric DeFelice, and Mark McDonald. McDonald, one of just 3 seniors in the lineup for this Salem State team. First chance of the day, but that one's knocked away. It was a good-looking play for Christopher Farage just on to the ice after he came off after a short shift. It'll be interesting to see how long these two teams manage to stay out on the ice. Heavy headwinds. We'll try to figure out which way the wind is blowing as the press box makes it a little bit more difficult to figure out. Nice and warm and cozy up here. Salem State continuing to pressure as that shot is sent wide from the blue line, and the Beacons will come away with it. DeAugustine tries to flip it out, but it's kept in by Salem State. This second line has been out there for a while for the Beacons as the Sitterly pass is intercepted once again. Salem State doing a nice job in the early going of pinning the Beacons back in their own end. It's Sam Boyd trying to clear it off this skate of Frankie DeAugustine. No call coming there for too many men on the ice, and the Beacons have it at center ice. Chance for their first real rush of the day, taken into the zone as it's controlled now behind the bench there. All the way out, and it will be cleared up into the bench, and we'll get our first stoppage. So early on, Salem State with a couple of chances, all of them sent wide as The Beacons still looking for that first opportunity here, a minute and 49 seconds in. Out there in the faceoff dot, it'll be Derek Colucci for UMass Boston. Colucci in the faceoff dot against Christopher Farage. The faceoff still loose, and it'll be controlled by Salem State. Salem State sending it forward. This Salem State team doesn't have the numbers that UMass Boston does necessarily, but they've played very well since about December, as that shot is controlled by Zach Andrews after a nice look from inside by Andrew Betancourt, the fourth line left winger. Into the faceoff dot, it'll be Mike Kuhn for the Beacons, the fourth liner from Holbrook, Massachusetts. As Kuhn with a clean win, but Salem State able to get it. Shot, and it's a big save there by Andrews. A good look from inside from John Needham. Needham gets hit hard into the boards behind the net, and the Beacons come away with it. Dan Cornell, though, can't control. Phelan fighting up along the boards, and he'll send it around where John Houston's there for the Beacons. Houston sending it around as he looks for Connor McStravick. Instead, it's Mike Kuhn with it. Kuhn into the zone, sends a shot wide of the net there as the goalie Ryan Sutliff wearing the big cap on top there. Zach Andrews staying with his normal attire as the Beacons able to keep it in the zone. It was a nice play from what looked like Mark Greenhouse. These jerseys worn for the first time today. Takes a little bit of getting used to as Greenhouse sends a hard check in. Able to keep the puck in the zone where it's finally controlled by Phelan. Phelan looking to send it around for Needham. Needham, the MASCAC Rookie of the Week this week after scoring 2 goals. Actually, Alex Minter, his teammate on the first line, has been named the MASCAC Rookie of the Week twice this season. As that first line, a senior and 2 freshmen, the most dynamic line for Salem State. Peter McIntyre unable to keep it in the zone. The Beacons fighting for it at neutral ice. And really, Jim, neither team has been able to come up with a lot of great chances. Still not just feeling each other out, but feeling this ice out as well, as it's Daniel trying to bring it in, and his shot is deflected wide of the net. Now a shot sent towards net, but knocked away by a defenseman, as that was Mark McDonald in there for the Vikings. McDonald bringing it into the zone on 3-on-2 rush, sends the shot on to Andrews, where he's able to make the save, and then it's tapped away by Cam Harvey.
Yeah, so I think you make a good point about the ice. I think that it's been warm yesterday, and today it's been really cold, so I think the puck's kind of bouncing around a little bit and hard to settle down so far.
Salem State trying to make a rush into the Beacons' end. Brandon Platt with it. Platt sends it just a little bit wide of Zach Andrews as he taps that one away with the stick. Beacons trying to come up with a big hit as Sam Boyd sends it around the boards. Boyd over for DeAugustine. DeAugustine leaves it a little bit behind Kit Sitterly. Sitterly able to get it and put it into the zone, and that one is knocked away from Finger as the Beacons really strong first through fourth line, as every single line has had at least one huge game this year. In fact, 15 Beacon skaters have recorded at least 2 goals on the year, including the first line, where they scored 8 goals this weekend alone in the 2-day Codfish Bowl tournament. 2-on-1 chance that they harry for the Beacons, brought into the zone, but a nice job by the defense to get back, as it was DeAugustine who's been active for the Beacons early on. That shot sent wide as Tyler Bishop tried to get in on the action. Cody Dixon, rather. As Salem State will now go 2-on-2. Chance for Chad Goodwin. Goodwin going 1-on-1 against Dixon. Big save from Andrews, as Andrews gets a nice stop there. Unable to glove it, but able to knock it away. Beacons going the other way, trying to track this one down for UMass Boston is Mike Miller out of Wrentham, Massachusetts, one of a large group of players from the state of Massachusetts on this Beacons team. Salem State with a large group as well. You have to imagine a lot of these players grew up wanting to play for the Red Sox, and now out here, as we've got a stoppage, Ryan Sutliff putting the glove down and drawing the whistle with 14:43 to go. Shots 4-0 in favor of Salem State. How much do you think of that is nerves, and how much of it is just adjusting for the Beacons?
Well, I think that the Beacons kind of come out a little bit slow. They may have a little bit more nerves. It seems that the play is being controlled right now by Salem State, so I'm sure that Coach Belial will get in the ears of his players very shortly.
Alex Minter tries to send it out to center ice. It's knocked back right back into the zone there by Mike Miller. Miller trying to bide his time as the puck bounces wide of him, and Salem State out to center ice. Alex Minter with it for Salem State, and he's going to be called offsides at the blue line. A quick stoppage there. Shots 4-0 in favor of Salem State as you look to the left. A nice contingent of Salem State fans. To the right, a fair amount of UMass Boston fans, and the fans continue to trickle in. Kind of a tough start today, 4 o'clock. A lot of people working, trying to get off half an hour early, get off a full hour early to get here right on time. And it's also a little bit difficult to sit out in the stands for 2.5 hours today with temperatures in the negatives if you include the wind chill, as it looks like we've got an icing there and a stoppage. Face-off coming back into the Beacons. And the one thing that's been impressive, Zach Andrews cutting down the angles. 2 really nice saves thus far, and he was a big question mark coming into this game just based on his lack of playing outside this year.
Yeah, Seth, his angles look pretty sharp, and he's been equal to the task today. 2 big saves on point-blank opportunities. So very good start for Andrews today.
Andrews, the sophomore goalie who won 17 games, a program record as a freshman. He openly said he was frustrated by his save percentage, his goals against average. Thought he could have done a better job last year as the program won 19 games. Well, if he can continue playing the way he's done during this 7-game winning streak, UMass Boston could easily reach 20, if not more, wins this season. The Beacons finishing second last year in the ECAC East regular season before falling in the ECAC East semifinals. Great chance there. Andrews with the save. Second chance loose, sent high just over the boards as Andrews falls to the ground, makes another save, and it's finally cleared up the boards but not out of the zone. Chance from Eric DeFelice, sends a shot. Andrews with a sprawling save as he's been all over the place for the Beacons in the early going. Already 5 shots on goal for Salem State. And although 1 or 2 of those might not have been on goal, Andrews still in the way as Daniels tries to send it over to McIntyre. The Beacons' first line out there. Maybe they can create the spark the Beacons need in the early going, as you really see a lot of bouncing on that puck. That was a great example. Salem State bringing in its Minter once again. Alex Minter with a defenseman on him and Tyler Bishop, and he forces the difficult shot, which Andrews is easily able to save. Now the puck going the other way. It's Daniel. Daniel with the shot. Sutliff covers up after making the initial save, and Beacons with their first official shot. Maybe not a difficult shot, but still you'll need to pressure the goalie at some point and see if there's nerves there as well.
Especially when there's 5 shots against you so far and you have none, just to get something to the net and maybe create an opportunity, just kind of spark something for the Beacons right now.
Yeah, you see the replay up on the scoreboard. You can see it on our broadcast as well. Andrews just sprawling to his left, to his right, able to get up every single time just in the nick of time. And the play of the sophomore has been huge in the early going. UMass Boston hasn't trailed in the game since December 7th, a 3-2 win at Southern Maine. The 2 teams have played 3 common opponents. Salem State 3-1, UMass Boston 3-0. The only team that Salem State lost to was Southern Maine, a 6-5 overtime loss, as Andrews will knock that one to his right. Technically a shot on goal, but not much of a challenge for the Beacon sophomore goaltender. So these 2 teams both up to the task against their common opponents, playing for the first time since 2009. It was a 4-3 overtime win for the Vikings as they do hold a 32-10-1 all-time advantage over UMass Boston. The Beacons haven't won this century as there's a shot and an easy save for Andrews off the look from Andrew Betancourt, the sophomore from Riverside, Rhode Island. You look at that one, Andrews easily able to move to his left, coming out a little bit farther. It was interesting in talking to the Beacons coaching staff. They said that the one difference about Ryan Sutliff as a small goalie is he stays a bit farther back in his net. How could that affect the Beacons' game plan in this one?
Well, anytime you have a goaltender that's back in his net, you have a better opportunity to maybe get that initial shot and the rebound goals. The goalies that play higher out, cut down your angle and maybe can deflect it to the corners. If you play back in the net, just a further back shot can present a little bit more opportunity for forwards to score.
Keaton Cashin with the puck, trying to find Andrew Betancourt. The Beacons nearly come up with the steal in the Salem zone. Instead, it goes the other way. Shot wide there off the stick of Ryan Doherty. Now Andrews forced to come out and make the play. Fortunate there was a player right in front of him, John Needham, who wasn't able to come up with the rebound. It's Brad Jones, the starting right defenseman, sending it into the zone where the Beacons are able to collect. Puck sent forward as UMass Boston still trying to adjust in the early going. Salem State with an 8-1 shot advantage. Needham tries to leave it behind him for Phelan. Instead, it's knocked away, but Phelan's going to be the first player with it along the near boards. Phelan sends it back behind the boards on the cycle. Salem State has pinned UMass Boston in their own end for much of the first period here. We're nearly midway through the period at the 10:55 mark. UMass Boston second in the country with 5.17 goals per game. Still looking for their first great chance of period number 1. A shot from Miller, another save from Sutliff, who is coming a bit further out of net than we're used to. And he doesn't allow the rebound on that one. So we'll get a stoppage and a face-off. UMass Boston, though, looking to shoot the puck maybe more often than they normally do, but not getting those good looks that you see from the circles down.
I think also, Seth, it may even be different than a game that's typically played inside. If the goalie hasn't been getting any shots and it's this cold outside, you may have to just question about how difficult it will to be getting some action if it does come down his end.
Mike Kuhn with the face-off win, but it comes all the way back. Salem State able to win it. Had a 2-on-2 rush, unable to do anything with it, though, as the Vikings will look to break out. The attempted clear from Connor McStravick gets deflected. Now there's a backhand dump for the Beacons. Fourth line out there. It's Kuhn, Greenhouse, and McStravick, the group of grinders. And the Beacons really famous for their fourth lines, not just great penalty killers, but these guys provide a lot of offense. Mark Greenhouse, a guy who you used to play with. Mike Kuhn, a guy who was at least on the roster, not seeing a ton of playing time. How much does it matter to have a fourth line that really can produce goals in addition to playing some great defense?
It's huge, Seth. I mean, anytime you can get production from a fourth line that typically is out there to kill some time or to kill penalties is huge. And it shows the success they've had thus far in this year is that all four lines are able to produce, pretty consistently. So that's a huge advantage when you talk about the type of season and how long it is.
McIntyre dumps it down looking for Daniel. Instead, it's picked up by Christopher Farich. Farich's attempted clear knocks off the referee, but finally out as the Beacons will control. It's Houston with it. Houston looking to flip it forward as the Beacons will track it down. Top line out there of Milam, Daniel, and McIntyre haven't been able to do much thus far. Daniel getting pinned to the boards and eventually loses it as it's controlled by Ian Canty. Brought into the zone but knocked away as Brandon Platt was looking to make a rush on Andrews. Over midway through this first period, 9:10 to go, and Salem State has held the edge. UMass Boston, winners of 7 in a row, unbeaten in their last 10, still trying to get things going here in the first period. Head coach Peter Belisle actually played 4 years of outdoor hockey at the University of Connecticut. His last game came against Bill O'Neill as there's a shot to the near post and it almost went through. Andrews seeing it at the last possible second, able to make the kick save. Puck bounces over Travis Daniels' stick. Takes a couple more bounces before finding Ian Canty. As I would definitely say, there still seems to be an adjustment based off of playing on this outdoor rink. Even some of the passes, the players seem a bit more hesitant as we're going to get an offsides on Salem State.
Yeah, I can only imagine how difficult it is to play, not knowing what the ice is going to be like. It's showing right now that the puck is jumping around a lot, and it's difficult to control for both teams. We'll see how that goes with the duration of the game.
And it's going to be Sitterly in there for the Beacons. Second line of Sitterly, Finger, joined by Frankie DiAugustino on the defense, Sam Boyd, and Cody Dixon. The Beacons with 3 freshman defensemen as now we're getting a longer stoppage. The referee's coming over to talk. Still yet to see a penalty in this first period. 11 total shots on goal. Neither team has scratched across a shot as the two teams talking to their respective coaches. You can see the Beacons players in their brand new uniforms that were actually paid for by the alumni of the program, as the players will be able to take these home as souvenirs. And now we're going to get a stoppage, and that was a spot where we saw a lot of bouncing pucks just going into the Salem State end. Now it looks like they're going to try to patch up just outside the blue line. So maybe they're not happy with the conditions. The Beacons coaches look like they're all bundled up, but 8:32 win. We've talked a lot about the adjustment in terms of nerves, the adjustment in terms of playing the puck. What have you actually seen when these two teams are able to get any kind of open-ended play that gives you an idea of what could happen as this game goes on and they get a bit more settled?
There's certainly a lot of talent out here today. Both teams, skating fast. It doesn't look like it looks like the nerves have settled in a bit, and the game's starting to adjust just now. Obviously, as you can see, the ice is a little beaten up, and they're doing some repairs to it. But I think that both teams are equally matched. It just seems as right now that the momentum is in Salem State's favor.
Salem State bringing their cheerleaders to the game, as Salem State's cheerleaders actually joined them when the chancellor and the president of the two state schools met for the coin flip, as now they're doing some crowd shots, just waiting for the ice to get back underway. We're 12 minutes and 28 seconds into the first period of play. UMass Boston unbeaten in their last 10, and now they're actually patching up just inside the Beacons end. So really the points where they've had the most kind of action, and they're just going to patch up, it looks like maybe a half dozen different points. This Fenway rink, 16 different games in about a 2.5 week span. There's been talk by some of the fans of teams who have maybe been through this a lot. It's becoming overblown, the idea of playing outside for hockey. But for these two programs, this couldn't be more of a dream. Just to be out here, to be playing in front of their fans, even though this stadium is maybe 1/30th filled, it's still the most fans that either of these two teams will likely see this season.
Yeah, like you said, Seth, it's just an incredible experience. I know that a lot of people have been talking about this kind of like overblown or that there are kind of oversaturated, but I think that just in terms of memorable experience in a college career, I think that it's just incredible.
Remember, UMass Boston and Salem State, just the 3rd and 4th Division III teams to play here outdoors. The first two, Babson and Norwich, those two teams will play back here at Fenway on Thursday night. That's a 7 o'clock game. Shot from Boyd just a little bit high of Sutliff. And now we're going to get a stoppage as looks like they're calling for a high stick. And they're going to check the net, make sure it's on its moorings. We'll have the faceoff come just outside the dot. The first time the Beacons have really gotten a look where there was any kind of traffic. And you can see why the Beacons freshman defensemen have been so strong with a shot like that from Sam Boyd, just a little bit high. But a good look from UMass Boston. Maybe their first of the game is that one went just a bit wide of the net.
Yeah, I think that very talented and a defenseman for the Beacons. And, I mean, anytime you have defensemen with a hard shot, that makes a world of a difference to be able to get a puck through and a possible rebound or even a goal.
As the puck now in the Beacons end, shot knocked wide by Andrews. A good look from Tyler Perpich, the freshman from Novi, Michigan. Novi, Michigan, of course, the hometown of Mike DeGrazia, who was an all-conference player for UMass Boston. Now it's Sam Boyd. Boyd bringing it into the zone, sends a backhand on to Sutliff, who's unable to make the glove save, but collected by a defenseman right in front of him. Mike McDonald bringing it into the zone, sends a shot on Andrews. Rebound loose, and the shot sent just a bit wide off the stick there of Eric DeFelice. A defenseman in front might have caused that shot to go wide. As Salem State getting the better end of the chances, and now Andrews will cover up. Back and forth play there. A good look for the Beacons, a better chance for Salem State. The rebounds today could be really costly with the puck bouncing so much. If you can't quite get there with the defenseman, it looks like that could be the difference in today's game if neither team's really able to shore up their skating.
Especially when it's so cold out, you know, the difference of, you know, what it might be when you normally save a puck for a goaltender. It may be changed with, you know, the wind chill factor below 0. The pads kind of freeze up a little bit, and like we've been seeing today, some big rebounds for both sides.
Beacons push it into the Salem State zone where it's picked up by Gabriel Crump. Now Cody Dixon looking to flip it out of his own zone for Frankie DeAugustine. DeAugustine fighting for it with Chris Mastropietro into the zone. It's Kit Sitterly. Kit Sitterly looking for the backhand pass. Puck loose amongst a couple of players for both sides. Finally out to center ice where it's cleared right back into the zone by Tyler Bishop. UMass Boston looking to dump and chase early on. Really haven't been able to come away with too many 3-on-2 or any kind of odd man rushes. Salem State will get a change. UMass Boston with 2 new players out there as well. Bishop, the freshman from Ramsey, New Jersey, into the zone where it's knocked right back at him. Salem State with the puck in their own end, biding their own time. It's Brad Jones. Jones, D to D, sending it forward out to the neutral ice. As Bishop tried to dump it in, instead it was knocked into the Beacons bench, it looked like there. As these new uniforms are showing there a nice look of Albie Daly. Peter Belisle kept these under wraps for as long as he possibly could. Not just as a former member of this program, but as a hockey fan yourself, where do you rate these unis in terms of the throwback scale?
Well, I don't know. I think that these are incredible. Definitely better than all the jerseys that we had. 2 different jerseys that we had during my tenure, but these are incredible.
Mike Miller hits the pipe as Sutliff unable to make the glove save. Shot sent high over Andrews as that one just barely missing the netting above, and the Beacons will have a chance to break out. It's Colucci sending it over for defenseman. The pass for Miller a bit too strong. Beacons fighting for it, and Miller gets knocked into the boards there and will draw the first penalty of the day. The Beacons, though, still fighting for it, and we will get the penalty as Miller knocked hard into the boards. So Mike Miller, as it looks like we're going to get the shot, and just barely, it looked like he couldn't see it there from the replay from Sutliff. As you see it either deflected off a defenseman or Sutliff just couldn't see it through the lights. And we will see number 4, Jacob Strzelowski, head to the box for 2 minutes.
Yeah, that was a great shot, Seth. Deflected by the defenseman there, hit the pipe, and hopefully we'll get a goal here on this power play.
So a face-off win for UMass Boston, as it's the first power play for the Beacons this year.
On number 4, Jacob Strzelowski, 2 minutes for hooking.
So Strzelowski into the box, 2 minutes for hooking. Beacons power play 8th in the country out there for the first time today. 27.1%, 19 of 70. On the other side, Salem State 83.7% on the penalty kill. 32nd in the country, 41 of 49. As the Beacons with a look there up into the netting. And we'll see the second face-off of this power play. 18 seconds in, 5:16 left to go in the first period. As in the face-off dot, it's Frankie DeAugustine with the win. Daniel sends it up top. The shot doesn't get through. McIntyre with it, looking backside for Daniel, flips it towards the net. It comes off its moorings, and they're going to say no goal, I believe, as the puck might have made it in for a second and then obviously ended up way away from the goal as it's on the far boards. But a good look there from McIntyre to not take the shot right away.
Yeah, it was a good setup. Tried to go down low with it and just couldn't get anything of it. Great save by the goalie and great play by the defenseman there sliding in.
As you see the second replay, very clear that the shot from DeAugustine went wide of the net, but a good look for the Beacons as it's that unselfishness of this first line, looking for each other rather than looking for their goals. That's been their biggest compliment all season from the coaching staff. McIntyre with it now. Peter McIntyre, the reigning ECAC East Rookie of the Year, brings it into the zone. The shot we've got to save. And the puck now behind the net for the Beacons. It's controlled there for an instant by Kit Sidderly, and now it'll be dumped back into the Beacons' end. A minute into this first power play of the day, Jacob Strzelowski, in the box for 2 minutes for hookings. We're down to 4:24 in the period. The Beacons, who were outshot 9-0 to begin this one, now trailing 10-5 as they've started to put things together. As the Beacons slow to get onto the ice with their 5. Now there's a shorthanded chance. Andrews kicks it up. A high, hard bounce off the boards as the Beacons will control. It's Dixon sending it to the far side as the Beacons now have neutral ice. Into the zone now, it's Milam. Milam with the backhand stab. Knocked away by a defenseman as he's hit hard all the way up to the blue line. Kept in there by Dixon. Milam sending it up top well wide there of Tyler Bishop, as that one might have picked up a bit of ice. It's Milam sending it over to Dixon. Too strong for Michael Kuhn, and Salem State will clear, but just to center ice, as looks like Tyler Bishop might have batted that one into his own bench there with 5 seconds remaining. You see a little bit more of Mother Nature. Maybe it's just the ice and not the wind, but the Beacons clearly not adjusting as well as they would like to on the power play with a couple of those bounces.
Yeah, I think on the power play especially, the biggest thing to have an effective power play is to get into the zone, to break into the zone well. And, you know, when you have the effects of nature, the ice is a little bit chippy, and so it's been difficult. So I think you're seeing a lot of that right now.
Strzelowski back out of the box. A hard shot from Cam Harvey is knocked high and back towards the blue line as the rebounds have been coming hard off the pads of these goaltenders. Salem State looking to bring it into the end. Beacons with 4 players back. Salem State, a good look here, though. And it's a nice job of the defenseman to tie up number 24, Brandon Platt. Salem State still with the puck in the Beacons' end. Finally, UMass Boston able to control. It's Mike Miller looking to tap it in. Miller, a 3-on-1 opportunity. 2 defensemen dive in front of him, and Miller gets tripped up, and it looks like Miller has just drawn his second penalty of this first period. Mike Miller, not a guy who scores a lot, a hard worker, a guy who's a grinder, and he might be the player of this first period, whether either team scores. What a huge play by Miller to put the Beacons right back on the power play.
Yeah, all it's going to take is the hard work of one guy to turn the tide here. It looks like he's going on all cylinders, and I mean it's evident by drawing 2 penalties so far.
As Michael Kuhn also got knocked down behind the play. Christopher Farich into the box here with 3 minutes exactly remaining in the period. So he'll go to the box for 2 minutes. And the Beacons, while their second power play of the day, had a couple good looks on the first one. DeAugustine trying to send it through the crease, and it's somewhere under the pads there of Ryan Sutliff. As I'm sure Sutliff has several layers under those pads as well. So a good look there from DeAugustine. He was looking for the player on the backside, just unable to get it by. Salem State sending a lot of bodies to the ground in front of Sutliff, trying to cut down on the Beacons' chances.
Yeah, I think that they've given a lot of support in the penalty kill here, and it's evident that they're willing to block shots and slide out for their goaltender.
Face-off win for Salem State. Beacons get it back. It's Travis Daniel, the captain. 107 career points, 12th most in Beacons history as McIntyre sends a look near net but a little bit wide. Daniel trying to cycle it around. McIntyre trying to trace it down with Ian Canny on his back. Daniel behind the net with it. UMass Boston still with 1 minute and 30 seconds left to go on the power plays. That one was flipped wide of the net off the stick of Derek Colucci. DeAugustine trying to send it back out in front, knocked away by a defender as he absorbs a big hit. Daniel's pass is stolen away, and it'll be cleared the length of the ice, where Zach Andrews will go back to play it. So Salem State will get 4 fresh skaters out there. UMass Boston on their second power play advantage of the period, second in about 5 minutes. As Salem State looks to dump it once again, this time controlled by the Beacons and number 4, Dan Cornell. Flipped into the end by Michael Kuhn. Kuhn gets it, takes a big hit, and will get a stoppage. As the Beacons just barely bringing it in. Now the referees will, looks like they're going to bring the puck down towards the Beacons' end as we're waiting for the call here. Referees haven't made a signal yet, although the Beacons going back into their own end would indicate it's a Salem State University face-off. UMass Boston with 4 out there, but there's no, and now they'll send a player to the penalty box. So after a little bit of confusion, it'll be Frankie DeAugustine into the box. So 58 seconds of 4-on-4 play, and then Salem State should have their first power play opportunity for 1 minute and 2. That penalty at 1:58. So if Salem State were unable to score, they would have 2 seconds of power play advantage heading into the second period. The Beacons with the face-off win. It's Nathan Milam. Milam going 1-on-3. Now he has a trailer. Milam sends a shot. Sutliff kicks it wide, and the puck comes to the near boards. As so too many men on the Beacons, getting that from our PA announcer, the voice of the Beacons, who's traveled over to Fenway. As UMass Boston looking to find a player out front, nobody there. And that's really a costly penalty if you're Peter Belisle, to see your team have that man advantage and then give it right back and give Salem State an advantage. As an easy save there by Sutliff on the shot from Dixon.
Yeah, so that might speak to some of the nerves that maybe have not subsided so far yet. Too many men on the ice, just an undisciplined penalty, and I'm sure Coach Belisle is not happy about that.
Yeah, on paper the Beacons hold a huge advantage over Salem State offensively, defensively, in terms of team and maybe even individual player stats, but there's a lot of equalizers, and one of those is just making poor mistakes like that. As Salem State has the 4-on-4 chance. A big save by Andrews on Chad Goodwin, the 4th-line right winger, and UMass Boston will have a chance to bring it out. It's Connor McStravick with it, joined by Cam Harvey and Michael and Mark Greenhouse on this chance, as that shot sent just a little bit wide, and both teams getting some good looks on this 4-on-4. Beacons trying to clear it out of the zone, as Salem State will dump it back behind the net here, chased down by Eric DeFelice. DeFelice with the defenseman giving him a bit of space. New player out onto the ice, sent towards the net where there's a skater waiting in Christopher Farich. Farich couldn't control it initially with John Houston all over him, down to 35 seconds to go, as it is a 5-on-4 advantage. The Salem State penalty erased. Shot sent towards net, doesn't get there as Andrews was looking for the glove save. 3 players in close, a second chance, and now we're going to get a stoppage as we finally get a stoppage here. 3 Salem State players camped out in front trying to send it in, and a great job by the 2 Beacons defensemen charged with getting in front of them, as that shot just sent a bit wide. Sutliff might have gotten a piece of that on the very good look for the Beacons from, I believe that was number 2, Cam Harvey. So 25.8 to go in the period. 27 seconds to go on the too many men penalty, as it'll be Mark Grinhouse out there. Grinhouse leads the Beacons with his 2 shorthanded goals. In fact, he's had a shorthanded goal in 2 of the past 3 games. Shot sent just a bit wide off the stick of Brad Jones, as Andrews doesn't know where the puck is. Now it's sent towards net. The Beacons able to control here as they'll look to kill off the rest of this clock. Harvey sends a bouncing puck into the Salem State end. Down to 8 seconds to go. Puck sent behind the Beacons net. Houston will be the first player there, and Houston is now fighting with the Salem State player on the ground. 2 seconds, 1, and that will do it. As the Beacons struggle early on, managed to get back and didn't earn 2 power play advantages, trailing just 12 to 10 on the shot total. But the big thing, despite maybe getting outplayed in that first period, it's 0-0 after 1, and now you can make those adjustments you've been looking for. Frozen Fenway 2014 Citibank, the official sponsor, as that's pre-recorded video of the Salem State Viking helping his team out onto the ice. You see some highlights there. Zach Andrews, the star for the Beacons, 15 saves in period number 1. A great shot from Eric DeFelice that Andrews, one of his numerous rushes where he had to face 1, 2, maybe 3 different shots in that. The best look from the Beacons, Mike Miller hitting the post as Ryan Sutliff looked like he was unable to see the shot through the lights. A good look from Cam Harvey that was sent just a bit wide. The Beacons struggled through the first 10, maybe 12 minutes, turned it around in the last 8. What do the Beacons need to do maybe in the first 5 minutes of this period to establish themselves and really get into the game?
I think just come out hard. They established some momentum after the two penalties, and just more of the same. Working really hard, moving their feet, and kind of just getting that first shot on net to just kind of carry that momentum this period and start it off right.
It'll be Milam and Phelan out there in the face-off dot. Salem State on a power play for the first 2 seconds of period number 2. The Beacons called for too many men on the ice at 18:02. It's a cold, windy day here at Fenway Park. When they said Frozen Fenway, they meant a frozen Fenway Park. There is ice along the grass. There is a large pile of snow out there in the left field corner. You can see the sled at points during today's broadcast, a huge 30-foot sled put out there along the monster is one more cool, unique thing for the fans, available on non-game days and available to the players. The UMass Boston and Salem State players able to partake in that yesterday morning as they weren't able to put in a skate. Instead, they sort of used that first period to test the boards and test the angles as the Beacons will be skating from left to right here in period number 2. And it looks like we're finally going to get a puck out there and ready to go. There's no TV timeouts today. We're not waiting on TV, so just another one of those stoppages where being outside makes things a little bit more difficult. You can see the Citi Frozen Fenway logo right there at center ice. 16 total games here at Fenway Park. The Beacons, one of 6 Division III teams in the first Division III game, all coming within a 3-day span. Trinity and Williams will follow this game at 7:30, and then Babson College and Norwich University on Thursday at 7 o'clock as the referees are out there, and we'll finally see the puck drop between Milam for the Beacons and Phelan for Salem State. It is finally won by Salem State, and they'll attack the Beacons' end as Frankie DeAugustine back out there for the Beacons. Faced as the puck sent around the boards there from Dan Cornell. Cornell looking for Travis Daniel. Daniel now putting some pressure on Ian Canny, who couldn't control the puck. The puck has been a little bit elusive today for these two teams, bouncing all over the place, a bit of a mind of its own. As now it's Peter McIntyre getting pushed into the boards by a Salem State player, getting turned around. There is now a second Salem State defender joins him. It's Milam behind the net. Milam looking to make something happen. The Ferris State transfer so dangerous, second on the team in points this year. As it's Daniel trying to send it towards the net. McIntyre joins him. Salem State extremely physical. It's one of the things that makes them such a difficult team to play against. Shot, and that one doesn't get through. A second shot, that one sent high into the netting, as it was Milam with a pair of good looks, Brad Jones with the initial block, and then the second one sent wide.
That was a great job there to establish pressure in the beginning of a game, getting it down low, cycling it, and Travis Daniel was the high guy at the top of the slot there, and passed it over to the other guy there, and they had a good shot on net.
That'll be Kit Sitterly as the second line gets their first shift of period number 2. We'll face off against Eric DeFelice, the Salem State second line center. A long fight for this face-off. Puck still loose between the two. It's almost like a rugby scrum, and we'll get a stoppage and what I'm assuming will be a new face-off. And this one's going to come out of the Salem State end and head into the Beacons. So the Beacons called for the minor infraction. And it'll go the length of the ice. The wind has definitely picked up since the game started. It was a brutal wind. If you were outside at all in Boston today, it literally froze your face within 2 to 3 minutes. Can't imagine what these players are going through. As the shot from McDonald in on net. The second shot sent just a little bit wide there off the stick of Tyler Perpich. Salem State looking for a third good look, but Cam Harvey in the way of that one, and he'll clear for the Beacons. Bouncing puck, making it difficult for Salem State, and at the last second, the defenseman able to send it up into the boards and into the Beacons bench.
Puck's still hopping a little bit out here in the beginning of the second period here, Seth. So I think it's just going to be a little bit more of the same.
It's interesting. It seems that Salem State, though, is now the group of defensemen who are struggling to handle the puck versus the Beacons. Maybe it's that zone. Maybe it's just a fluke of the first minute 22. We'll see how that plays out. Shot from the point from Bishop. High rebound, and it bounces wide where it's picked up by Derek Colucci. Controlled by Albie Daly. Daly looking to cycle it behind. Pass attempt trying to find a player in the slot. Instead, it's Miller getting it right back as his pass was deflected back at him. Miller looking to apply a check as a Beacon goes hard into the ice. That was Albie Daly. Now Bishop trying to send it back. Instead, it'll be a Salem State player going one-on-one. And the shot from his feet, the second save, and it's a huge one from Andrew, sprawled on the ground. The initial shot was from Chris Mastro-Pietro. The second look was a good one as well, and Andrew's coming up huge in net.
Unbelievable save by Andrews right there, and obviously a huge confidence boost to start the second period. He's played very well thus far, and that's just a testament to how this game's been going for him tonight.
If you're Christopher Farage, how much do you want that one back? Sending it right into the 5-hole when he's down. It's the one you got to lift it there, right?
Yeah, I mean, just in the nick of time, the save was made. But I think that if he had that one back, take a little bit extra time with that and try to roof that one.
A very good pair of looks there from the third line pair of Farage and Mastro-Pietro. As Mastro-Pietro playing in only his second game of the season for Salem State, played in 16 games a year ago, 4 goals, 4 assists, and 8 points. This year, Mastro-Pietro with a pair of goals in his only game, a 3-1 win over Wentworth in which he scored the game winner. The Beacons winning the face-off as that pass sent all the way to the far boards there. Frankie DeAugustine able to keep it in as we've got a power play right now for the Beacons. It's Cornell sending it across for DeAugustine as we'll try to get you that power play information. As it looks like it's 18 Farage who's in the box, potentially for a hit after the whistle, and now we're going to get another call, and it looks like it's going to be a slash against the Beacons. So that'll be Kit Sitterly heading to the box just 25 seconds in. The second time tonight that the Beacons have committed a penalty right away and taken away that power play advantage.
That's just something, obviously, it's tough to see. You get a power play, and you're trying to swing the momentum, try to get that first goal after a big save from Andrews, and obviously another penalty. So now we get some 4-on-4 play and hopefully some open ice action.
Yeah, you see Sitterly there, unable to keep the Salem State attacker in front of him. Instead, he pulls him from behind, and that'll either be a holding or a slash. Either way, Sitterly to the box. 17:27 remaining in the period. Teams will skate 4-on-4, which potentially could be an advantage for the Beacons. 2-on-1 chance now. It's McIntyre and Daniel. McIntyre with the puck sends a shot and score! Peter McIntyre unassisted, and the Beacons ECAC East Player of the Week puts the Beacons on the board. Just 2:44 into period number 2. Jim, you say big-time players play well on big stages. A huge goal from McIntyre there on the 2-on-1.
Absolutely. Unbelievable play for a 2-on-1. He had Travis Daniel with him, looks him off, low far pad shot. Just a beautiful execution on a great play, especially on 4-on-4. Open ice and made it count.
Yeah, it was Gabriel Crump, the Salem State player who was winding up for the big slap shot from the point knocked away by McIntyre, which caused the 2-on-1, and McIntyre finishing his team-leading 13th goal of the season gives the Beacons the 1-0 advantage. McIntyre leading the team with his 13 goals. That 24th point puts him in a tie for first in the nation in total points in Division III. He's been a beast for the Beacons as a Beacon takes a huge hit there. It was John Houston, who looked like he might have caught a bit of a Salem State elbow. No call coming, though, as the teams continue to skate 4-on-4. Salem State will have a power play upcoming, although it will only last 24 seconds. UMass Boston looking for a second 4-on-4 tally as Milam tried to leave it off for a Beacon player. Instead, we'll go 1-on-1 the other way. Houston, the defenseman for the Beacons, and he makes a nice play to knock that puck away from Brandon Platt. Behind the Beacons net, it's Michael Kuhn evading one hit. Dan Cornell with it. Cornell sending it up along the boards, trying to find Milam, knocked away by a Salem State defenseman. Down to 8 seconds to go on the Salem State penalty. As remember, they will be on the power play after the penalty on Kit Sitterly. 16:09 to go in the period. The Beacons lead 1-0 as we'll have 25 seconds of Salem State power play beginning right now. It'll be Sam Boyd tracing after it. Looks like that puck was moving a bit faster than he expected, unable to clear. Salem State keeping it in just barely as the strong shot sent just a little bit wide off the stick of Cameron Banwell, the third-line defenseman. Andrews hugging his own post, and he'll get the stoppage with 7 seconds to go on the power play. A good look there from Salem State as Sam Boyd looked like he was just a little bit nonchalant, wasn't expecting the puck to move that fast.
Yeah, great. Another big save by Andrews on a big shot and a rebound off those lively boards due to the cold out here.
Yeah, we talked about those lively boards during the intermission. That puck bouncing right back. If it hadn't hit the back of the cage, that one might have come back a lot faster, might have even knocked off the back of Andrews. As Phelan trying to win this faceoff for Salem State and does with 3 seconds to go on the power play. At the point, it's Ian Candy. Candy sends it towards net, and Andrews with another big save as it was number 14, Alex Minner, waiting on the doorstep. So the Beacons kill off another penalty. Their second of the day, 15:42 to go. The Beacons lead 1-0 on a Peter McIntyre goal. You see Andrews sporting the eye black along with most of the players on this team. Think eye black, you think the sun, but the lights could be an issue today as well. In fact, we saw that earlier in the first period.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, especially as a goaltender, and you want to be able to see that puck at all times. And if the eye black is going to help you just kind of locate the puck with all the the high power lights here, that's going to be something that's definitely a necessity.
Beacon's third line out there was Albie Daly with a good look, but knocked away by a defenseman. Controlled in here by Cody Dixon. Dixon, hailing from Hales Corner, Wisconsin, has been a revelation for the Beacons, one of many strong freshman defensemen on this team as he sends that shot wide. Colucci fighting with it. Derek Colucci, the sophomore out of Scituate, Rhode Island. As now it's Daly trying to track it down. Canny sending it D to D all the way along the boards as the Beacons' forecheck is certainly picked up in this period. Colucci sending it a little bit wide as this Beacons' third line with a very nice little shift here. Mike Miller, who had a strong first period, tries to send a pass out front. Shot from Bishop doesn't get through. Colucci with the shot. Second chance. Puck still loose, and finally it's poked away and onto the stick of Alex Minter, but not out. Salem State trying to get the clear, unable to do so. And finally, after it bounced off a couple of Beacon sticks, it's Kyle Phelan into the zone, sending a shot high and wide off the stick of Tyler Bishop. As the Beacons slowly creeping back in here in the shot totals. It's 18-13 up on the scoreboard, 15-5 officially in the first period. But the Beacons still getting outshot in this second period, just as they did in the first, but taking advantage of their one great look, a 2-on-1, Peter McIntyre burying it past Ryan Sutliff for the lone goal in this one. McIntyre had 4 goals over the weekend as he earned his second tournament MVP honors of the season, earned the tournament MVP honors for the Manchester PAL Stovepipe Classic, and once again at the Codfish Bowl as Travis Daniel, the captain, just laid a huge hit on a much larger Salem State player. It's Daniel trying to chase down the puck here as the defenseman there, Zoltrowski, and another big hit from Daniel. A smaller guy who hates you talking about his size. He's showing that he's not afraid to put some contact on. It's Eric DeFelice into the zone. DeFelice, shot, score! Just over the glove there of Zach Andrews, and we're tied 1-1 as he had a bit of traffic in front of the defenseman, giving him a little bit of traffic in front of Andrews' sight line, and we're even at 1-1 here, 13:28 to play.
just one of those shots coming over the blue line, lets it rip, a little bit of traffic in front, and like we talked about a little bit earlier, kind of it makes you wonder about if he actually saw that one. Some traffic, and maybe the lights played a little bit of a role. Good hard shot from Salem State, but Andrews just didn't pick it up in time.
Yeah, you can see Andrews immediately disgusted with himself once that one back. It's Eric DeFelice on the goal for the Vikings, tying it at 1-1. These two teams playing for the first time since 2009 when Salem State won in overtime, 4-3 at the Clark Athletic Center Ice Arena. It's the first time that these former rivals have played since 2009. Overall, though, they've played 43 times, with the Vikings holding a 32-10-1 advantage. Head coach Peter Belisle has never beaten the Vikings. You have to go all the way back to 1999, to the last time that UMass Boston earned the victory. But this is a different Beacons program almost, as Belisle looking for his 7th consecutive 10-win season. But the Beacons, nationally ranked for much of last year, back into the national rankings yesterday at number 15 in both the D3Hockey.com and USCHO.com polls. And this Beacons team has an offense that very few squads can hope to have. The Beacons averaging 5.17 goals per game. They've struggled a bit today to get that offense going. We'll see if they can do it right now, as the Beacons have the puck in the Salem State zone. Shot from the point by Bishop. Sutliff with the save and immediately covers up, as Beacons looking for that actually was Cam Harvey. These retro-looking uniforms, sometimes a little bit difficult. Saw the 2, expected the 1. Instead, it's Harvey, the senior assistant captain, who has a very hard shot of his own.
Absolutely, Seth. Had the opportunity to play with Cam Harvey for a couple of years, and very hard-working guy, great shot, and as you can see from there, just finds a way to get the puck to the net.
Canny sending the puck around the boards for Chad Goodwin. Goodwin back across for a defenseman. A little bit too strong on the pass. Shot sent towards the net. Sutliff might have gotten a bit on that one. Puck loose. Fighting for it is a Beacon on the ground. Finally cleared away, and Salem State will gain neutral ice. Puck into the Beacons end. It's Andrew Betancourt. Betancourt sends a pass out in front, a little bit too strong, and it's over to the near boards. All the way around as it's being chased here by Harvey. Shot sent hard, but right off of a Beacons player, Frankie DeAugustin. You have to figure that the welts from this game are going to hurt just a little bit more in the cold, as we've got an offsides on Salem State.
Absolutely, Seth. I think that especially guys that aren't getting that much play time, things are just freezing up. You're sitting on the bench. You may not be moving all those muscles and keeping warm. So a shot that, if you haven't been playing that much, or even if you have, with this kind of cold out here, a shot like that's definitely going to have an effect for a couple of days.
Salem State with the face-off win. Beacons, though, gain it right back. It's Albie Daly putting it into the zone. Daly, the freshman from Averill Park, New York. This is a large freshman class for the Beacons, not quite as large as last year's freshman class of 14 players who made a huge impact as a freshman group, including placing 3 players on the all-rookie team, and freshman goalie Zach Andrews playing the majority of the games. This freshman class, though, making a name for themselves as well. Those players who've been able to carve out some playing time. Cody Dixon, one of those freshmen, flipping it up along the Salem State boards, and that one did, in fact, go off a player on the bench, which will create a face-off here. 11:55 to go. A pair of goals early on in this period. It was Peter McIntyre scoring first for the Beacons on a 4-on-4 goal. 2-on-1 rush for the Beacons. Eric DeFelice answering for Salem State, as we're even at 1 just about midway through this game. The first Frozen Fenway game for both of these teams, the first ever ECAC East MASCAC matchup at Frozen Fenway. In fact, the first ever non-conference matchup between a pair of Division III teams, as these shots sent wide. And even Division I, for the most part, you see conference rivals, at least here on the East Coast, where it's traditionally been Hockey East teams, or even the One Atlantic game between Bentley and Holy Cross.
Yeah, Seth, I mean, it's just even though it's not a conference game, it still means a lot in both of these teams' respective conferences. Any game where you can gain some points is a huge ordeal, and especially 2 state schools who, they're kind of like we said earlier in the broadcast, like 30 minutes from each other. So that rivalry, hopefully, we can be renewed.
It's Connor McStravick sending a shot on net. McStravick absorbed a blow as he took the shot. and it's an easy save for Sutliff as the Beacons more and more just trying to put a little bit of pressure on the senior goalie from Las Vegas, Nevada, whose stats maybe aren't as good as he would like. The former second-team All-MASCAC player as a sophomore put his best numbers together as a sophomore, but still very respectable. 893 save percentage, 285 goals against average, 7-2. That's probably the big one if you're head coach Bill O'Neill. Salem State comes away with the puck as they try to get it into the Beacons' end. It's controlled there by Harvey. Harvey tries to flip it up along the boards, knocked away by a Salem State player's stick as it's now running high along the boards. And neither team really able to gain any kind of advantage. On the near board, sent out to the point, bounces over the stick there of Brad Jones, and the Beacons now will at least be able to put some forecheck pressure on Salem State, and that's maybe a play you don't see if this is an indoor game. Milam, McIntyre shot, big save by Sutliff high up into the boards. Beacons still looking for a chance. Daniel unable to put it down, and now the puck's out to center ice as the Beacons top line creating their second grade A chance of the period. Sutliff with a huge save for Salem State.
Sutliff was very equal to the task there. Point-blank shot by Peter McIntyre, who got him earlier in the game, and gave him a little bit of payback with that big save there.
Salem State's first line going the other way. Shot, that one might have took a piece of Andrews, might have even gotten a bit of the post as Andrews hit hard into that post, making sure it didn't get by him. A great look there by number 17, Chris Mastropietro. He was out alongside Alex Minner, as Minner had the first look, and then a great look for Mastropietro, who was a player that the Beacons coach admit they were hot and heavy for. They wanted him to be on the Beacons. Instead, he chose Salem State and nearly gave Salem State their first advantage of the day. Couple of hacks at that shot, but no one's able to really put a look on Zach Andrews, as it's Kit Sitterly coming away with the puck. Sitterly, the sophomore from Mooresville, North Carolina, a member of the ECAC East all-rookie team last year, alongside Frankie DiAugustine, who's out there, and Peter McIntyre. Shot from Jeremy Finger on the wraparound. Sutliff with the denial. Beacon still with it. It's DiAugustine. DiAugustine looking for Sitterly, a bit too strong. Finger out of Orlando, Florida. It's got to be a bit cold for him as he fights for it. Now it's Sitterly with another wraparound stab, and it looks like Sutliff has it. It's in! Oh my gosh! The referee does not blow the whistle, sees the puck behind Sutliff, and Kit Sitterly has a steal of a goal.
Yeah, Sutliff obviously didn't have that covered up. At least the referee didn't see it covered up by Sutliff. And like any trained hockey player, you're going to go into the net until the whistle blows. And the Beacons were very fortunate on that one, but still a great goal.
Jim, I'm not going to call myself an expert on hockey, but back-to-back wraparound chances, is that something that the coaches are talking about? As you see it looks like Sutliff has it covered. The second poke, as Sutliff not getting the complete cover, and it was Sitterly the initial shot, Sitterly the second chance, putting it by, and Kit Sitterly, his sixth goal of the season, putting it home. That should be an unassisted goal. Back to my point, is that the coach is saying maybe we should try this? Sutliff looks like he's not covering up as well as he should.
I think it's something that with the game, with the ice being the way it is, and 2-on-1's not going the way, except for the Sitterly goal, where the ice plays a factor in it. I think that guys are going to take it directly to the net just on instinct, saying, okay, well, this isn't going to work with the passes out, trying to spread out the offense. So you're going to see a lot more of guys taking it to the net, and exactly what you're saying there. Sitterly takes it to the net.
Terry Ober and Tom Cronin, the referees in this one, is Bill O'Neill livid coming off of his bench. And obviously there is some frustration, but normally you get frustrated by that quick whistle. You shouldn't have as much to complain about on a long whistle. He was right there, clearly saw the puck. It was even difficult from that zoomed-in angle on the replay that you just saw on the webcast, and that's what they're seeing up on the scoreboard, to see exactly where the puck was. But obviously the referee, whether it was Cronin or Ober, had enough to say that puck's still loose. I mean, you have to give the referee a little bit of credit there to not immediately blow the whistle when it looked like Sutliff had it covered up.
Yeah, especially Seth, when I don't think that the Beacons were over, they were pushing on the goalie at all. I think that when Sutliff picked his leg up and there was a little bit of room, that's when what the ref saw and saw the opportunity for a goal to be scored, and it was scored. And I think that's exactly what the Salem State coach is entitled to be angry, obviously, about it, but I think that the ref made the right call in that sense.
So Sitterly with a huge goal, as the Beacons sophomores with a pair of goals now. The third line out there, it's Albie Daly avoiding a hit there. Daly skating with it, tries to send it on net. Sutliff tries to put a paw out and cover that one up, unable to do so. Behind the net, Daly sending it out to the point. Big shot, that one goes wide. Still loose, though, sent towards the net by Cornell. Cornell's shot's deflected, and it's a chance for a 3-on-2 if Salem State can harry. Shot sent towards Andrew, knocks that one away with the stick, and the Beacons will go the other way. UMass Boston, right out of that faceoff, had a good look on net, but it was sent just a little bit wide, as the Beacons have definitely been a bit more aggressive in period number 2, coming away some better chances. Can't really say if it's based off the wind or not, just because it's not windy up here in the press box, but it'd be interesting to hear what the players say about the difference between period number 1 and 2, whether it was just an adjustment to the ice or whether the wind has something to do with it. It's whipping, and anytime that puck gets up in the air, you have to wonder, as that puck will roll for an icing, and we'll get a stoppage at 7:51 to go in period number 2.
You make a good point, Seth. Salem State carried the play in that first period. In the second period, it seems that the Beacons are carrying the play, and it would definitely be interesting to see the players' take on how the wind is affecting this game.
Have to give a ton of credit to Zach Andrews. We keep talking about him, and Ryan Sutliff has been nearly as good, although he has given up those 2 goals. The second of them, a little bit of a fluke goal, as he thought he had covered it up, but very impressive between these 2 goaltenders for being guys who aren't used to the cold to have played as well as they have, especially with some of these fluke bounces coming the way they have.
Yeah, I mean, you have close to 40 shots already, just a little bit past halfway in this game. So both goaltenders are getting a lot of action, and they're both standing on their heads at times to make big saves to keep their respective teams in the game.
Boyd sends a bouncing shot towards net, goes a little bit wide as the Beacons' fourth line fighting for it. Connor McStravick out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, fighting for it. McStravick and this fourth line, so good defensively, but they've really been putting it together offensively over the past couple of games as well, scoring 2 of the Beacons' 3 goals in that big win at Southern Maine, one of their most difficult games of first semester. Beacons got off to a slow start at 1-1-2, but since then have been phenomenal, winning 7 in a row, 9-1-2 coming into the contest, trying to stay unbeaten in 11 games now, as Salem State has it in the Beacons and trying to do something against this swarming Beacons defense. Shot from the point, Banwell all the way into the glove of Andrews, and that was a difficult look with 2 Beacons defensemen in front, along with a Salem State player camped right outside the crease.
A lot of traffic in front on that one, and Andrews able to see through all the people and get a good glove on it.
Yeah, the glove of Zach Andrews at times has been troublesome. Hasn't necessarily been able to keep his rebounds as much as he wants, but playing there right along the third baseline, maybe a little bit deep for most third basemen, makes a very nice stop. Red Sox third base position might be one of their weaker spots going into the next season, so maybe Zach will get a call. That one is dumped all the way down and should go for an icing, trying to avoid too many of the Red Sox cliches, but couldn't help that one. An impressive play based off the low bounce, the player out in front.
Yeah, it should be interesting here with the draw in the offensive zone for the Beacons to see if Coach Belial is going to elect to go with a set play here.
As waiting for the face-off drop, and the face-off is won by the Beacons. Poked over to the boards. It's Milam. Milam trying to chip it through for McIntyre. McIntyre, such a large body at 6'5", leaves it off for Bishop. Bishop's shot hits off the Beacon in front. That was Daniel. McIntyre fighting for it, tries to get it back out to Bishop. Bishop with a shooting lane, bounces through off of a defender, and Sutliff able to cover up. And you talk about a play, it looked like the Beacons knew exactly where that one was going out of the extended break.
Wasn't a clean draw, but the Beacons did gain possession, and it looked like Kit Sidley was at the top of the circle there looking for something. So I would put a bet on it that was a set play.
As it's going to be Milam again, this time on the near side, and unable to win that faceoff against Kyle Phelan. Salem State electing to make a change after that first faceoff win by the Beacons, and now it's Salem State with a chance to break out. It's controlled by Minter. Minter will pull up and allow his team to get numbers. Sent all the way across for Strzelowski, and Strzelowski sends a shot in, stopped by the Beacons. Phelan trying to leave it off for Needham. A huge defensive play that time by Bishop. The ever-growing confident Tyler Bishop, who wasn't even in the lineup in the first couple games, he's really solidified his spot with some terrific play. McIntyre leaves it off for Daniel. Daniel sends an easy shot in there for Sutliff, who will control and try to send it out of the zone. One of the few times the goalies have had any kind of time. It's John Needham, the reigning MASCAC Rookie of the Week, stumping it in. Sitterly looking to stab it around over for DeAugustine. Sitterly comes all the way around, and now it's Phelan tapping it off to Sitterly for the Beacons. Bad turnover there by Sitterly. Chance for the shot, and that was Perpich sending it just a bit wide, as Sitterly, who had the goal, making an ill-advised decision there, trying to send the puck out of the zone through the top. It's Sitterly over to DeAugustine. DeAugustine tries to send it on net. Puck bounces high off the body there of Sutliff as that rebound absolutely flew up. Now it's Houston. Houston over to Finger. Finger sends it towards neutral ice. Controlled there by a defenseman for Salem State, and we will get a stoppage. And it looks like it's going to be a penalty for a slash. And I believe it will be Jeremy Finger here at 4:46 of period number 2. So the second power play opportunity, well, technically the third true power play opportunity for Salem State, as they did start the period with a 2-second advantage. And this will be the first full 2-minute advantage for Salem State. We'll see if they can take advantage of this opportunity. Trailing by a goal, and this period has been dominated by the Beacons.
It's a big opportunity for Salem State to get equal here.
As we'll wait on the PA announcer for the goal.
14, Jeremy Finger, 2 minutes for slashing.
And guessed right that time. Big shot from Greenhouse. That one is deflected high and out towards second base and into short right field. As the netting doesn't go all the way around, you only really have to worry about the photographers out there. And some poor puck person will have to go track that one down. They are using custom pucks for the 3-week event, this Citi Frozen Fenway event, as Mark Greenhouse in the face-off dot for the Beacons has been so good on special teams, and in fact has scored 2 shorthanded goals for UMass Boston. The one place that UMass Boston has struggled during the 7-game winning streak is on special teams, though, allowing teams to score at about a 16% clip. 7 of the 13 goals scored against them during the 7-game winning streak have come on the power play. And while the Beacons' power play or penalty kill conversion rate hasn't been bad, they've just been giving too many chances. Shot, score! Lifting it over Andrews. It's a great look from Mastro Pietro, his 3rd goal in 2 games. And just as I was saying, the Beacons not quite good enough on the penalty kill.
Just a tough play there. Puck bounces over the defenseman's stick, creates an odd man rush, and a beautiful shot by Mastro Pietro.
Mastro Pietro out of Revere, Massachusetts, his 3rd goal in 2 games, and you see it here, Mastro Pietro on the near side as that one flips up, and it looks like it got a piece of Harvey, and that really made it difficult for Andrews.
Yeah, just a tough play. Harvey trying to get in the way there and block that shot. Unfortunately, got a piece of his stick, and Andrews couldn't get it. Yeah,
popped right up and just onto the bar, so we're even at 2-2. Salem State taking advantage of the Jeremy Finger penalty, and now 3:47 to go. We're even for the second time. 4 goals in period number 2. It's Daniel leaving off for Milam. Glove save for Sutliff. Really no angle for the Ferris State transfer, but a good look for the Beacons right off the face-off.
Just a good way to establish momentum again, not for the Beacons, not to let that goal affect them and try to get a good quality shot on net, which they did. So hopefully they can just forget about that goal and go back to work.
So it'll be the top line out there. They scored the first goal as the faceoff is won by the Beacons. Puck loose. Shot sent towards the net. It's still loose. And finally, Sutliff gets it. As you're seeing a lot of shots not only not getting through the traffic, but when they do, they slowly trickle towards the net. So if a team can find a puck, it's a great chance. But for the most part, the goalies are having the advantage on those.
Yeah, Salem State's doing a good job getting out in front of the Beacon defensemen, try to block those shots or at least get a piece of it, which is what you're seeing. And, just tough to get to the net and try to bang home one of those rebounds.
Clean face-off win that time for Eric DeFelice. He scored the first Salem State goal. Chris Mastro Pietro with the second one as we're even at 2-2. It's Bishop behind his own goal, tracking this puck down. Bishop keeps it himself, tries to send it over for Daniel. Instead, it's knocked away by DeFelice. DeFelice, a shot to the near side, and Andrews will hug that post for dear life as he knows he's not going to get the quick whistle and able to make the play on Eric DeFelice.
Great save by Andrews there, no rebound. Just hugs the post tight, gets a whistle, and gets a change that the Beacons need. They're a little bit tired out there.
Yeah, you have to wonder about how long the shifts are going to be, not just for the rest of this period, but in period number 3 as the guys get more and more tired. can't be easy to skate, not just in the cold, but with the wind as well. As the faceoff coming just to the left this time of Andrews. It's another win for Salem State. Shot doesn't get there. A nice block by Beacons defenseman. That time it was John Houston out to center ice, controlled by Salem State, and it is sent back in by Ryan Doherty, the freshman fourth-line center. Puck bounces up over the glove there of a Beacons player. Andrews can't really get much on the stick there trying to settle it down. It's hard to settle this puck, period, for anybody out there. As Daly's pass a bit too strong in front of Mike Miller. Brought into the zone by Salem State. A shot. Once again, Andrews able to send that one hard into the near boards as he's done a nice job of clearing away those rebounds. Nothing really sitting down. Albie Daly fighting forward at center ice. He's sent to the ground. And the puck is controlled by Keaton Cashin. Cashin gets it over to a teammate. Knocked away there by John Houston. A nice defensive play from the junior from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Sent towards the Beacons end, where a Salem State player is fighting for it along with a Beacon who tumbles hard to the ground. 2:17 to go in this second period. We're tied at 2. It's a 4-goal period after the two teams were scoreless in period number 1. Bouncing puck corralled by a Salem State defenseman. Trying to get the number on him, but he's just not showing it. It's Colucci sending it over. Puck on the Beacon stick, and it falls just a little bit too far away from Mike Miller, who did a great job to initially corral it, but couldn't get there. Andrews has the puck come all the way in on him, and he's going to have to cover up and allow Salem State to get this offensive zone faceoff, as it just wouldn't get there in time. Christopher Farrett's the on-rushing Viking.
Yeah, just to go back there, a little unlucky play for Mike Miller. Puck hops off his stick. He would have had a grade A opportunity to get a shot on net.
As it'll be Phelan in the faceoff circle for Salem State. Faceoff win, though, for the Beacons. Looked like it was Derek Colucci in the third line staying out there. Sam Boyd is all over Phelan there, able to get it over to Cam Harvey. Harvey, the Beacons senior assistant captain. Of course, Travis Daniel, the captain, and Mark Grinhouse, the other player wearing an A this year for UMass Boston. It's a small senior class, but they have had a very strong career. Chance for the Beacons as a shot is sent a little bit wide that time. Finger tries to send it out front. A Salem State player is there, though. DeAugustine looking to send it around the boards, putting some pressure on a Salem State defenseman. Now it's sent around the boards by Gabriel Crump and out to center ice. It's Harvey with it. Harvey looking to dump all the way to the far side. Takes a big, tricky little bounce there and onto the stick of a Salem State player. Puck into the Beacons end as that's Needham onto Zach Andrews, not intending to take the shot. And controlled by Cody Dixon. Dixon looking to send it forward for Mike Kuhn. Kuhn battling for it right at the blue line. It pops out of the zone where Dixon has it. Dixon over to Kuhn. Kuhn looking for a shot. Sutliff allows the big rebound. Kuhn attacks the net, but it's knocked away by Keaton Cashin at the last possible second, and will get a stoppage.
Great shot by Mike Kuhn there. Good hard work. That's what you look for in your fourth line guys. Just hard work, controlling the play, and getting shots on net.
46.6 seconds to go in the period as the Beacons will have an offensive zone faceoff. DeFelice for Salem State, Mike Kuhn for UMass Boston. DeFelice with one of the 4 goals today between these two programs. Kuhn looks to win the faceoff right away, tries to send a backhand pass over to McStravick. Defenseman coming in, it's Bishop. Sutliff comes way out of his net and makes the big save. Beacons fighting for it. It's 2 players in blue right along the near boards. Kuhn comes away with it. Michael Kuhn, the Beacons' fourth line right winger, has done a nice job there, but unable to do it. Applies a bit of a hit, and fortunate to not get called for interference on that one. Now it's into the Beacons' end. Cashin will send it all the way on to Andrews to avoid the possible icing. Down to 15 seconds to go. Sent out towards center ice. It's on to the stick there of Connor McStravick, and will get a stoppage as there's a Salem State player who got cross-checked into the boards behind the play. And it looks like Salem State will go onto the power plays. He's slow to get up, and right now took off his gloves. It's got to be a very cold event as Cody Dixon, the guilty party for the Beacons, and for the second straight period, Salem State will start the third period on the power play unless they can score a goal in the next 13.1 seconds. So Beacons have been guilty of a few penalties here in the period. Salem State 1 for 3 thus far on the power play, scored on their last opportunity off the stick of Chris Mastro-Pietro. Mark Grinhouse, a big defensive zone face-off there, and he's able to come away with the win. Beacons just trying to pin the puck along the boards for the final 7 seconds. It comes loose. Chance at the point. Shot doesn't get through. As a nice job by the Beacons defenseman to get in the way, and that will do it as there were a couple of looks near the net. So we head to the third period. UMass Boston 2, Salem State 2. It'll be Salem State on the power play for a minute 47 to begin period number 3 after a little bit of scrappiness there near the buzzer between the two squads.
A lot more action that period as far as shots and we got some goals there. And unfortunately, the Beacons take a penalty to go down a man again at the end of the period there, starting the period shorthanded.
They did finally get on the board on that second goal from Chris Mastro Pietro.
Yes, and I think the main thing is going to be to deny entry into the zone. You don't want them to easily get in and set up. We've seen a few power plays thus far, and they've had some great opportunities, some great shots. So the main thing is to deny, make it as difficult as possible to get in, make them dump it in, and not set up anything. And then if they do set up, then make sure that you're right in front of the stick, you're blocking shots, and you're clearing it out. Nothing just kind of fancy, just get it out and go to work.
And that last goal just showed up on the scoreboard at Fenway, and here on the broadcast it was Mastro Pietro deflecting a shot off of Cam Harvey as that faceoff won by Salem State all the way back into their own end, though, as that'll kill off a few ticks. Salem State with it. It's Eric DeFelice. No, it's number 5, rather, Cameron Banwell, into the Beacons end all the way over to John Houston, who tries to flip it up and out of the zone. He will do so. It's Mark Greenhouse onto the puck. Greenhouse, who's been aggressive on the penalty kill over the past couple games, doesn't think about a shorthanded tally there. He's content to dump it down. Now it's John Needham. Needham tries to bring it into the end, and the Beacons force the offsides call there. Nice job of getting a stick in, and we'll get a stoppage here. 9:25 to go, or 19:25, as they're missing a 1 up there on the board. 1:12 to go, although that 9:25 might be counting down to the middle portion of this period, and then they will switch sides. So I might be really just mixing myself up there. As Salem State, another face-off win on the power play, slides all the way around the boards behind the Beacons goaltender. It's Albie Daly in there fighting for the puck. Salem State controls. Poked away, but kept in right at the blue line. As it's Salem State with the puck. Shot sent towards net. Andrews with the first save. Puck still loose. Second shot, and it's off the skate, it looked like, of a defenseman right along the post. Salem State still controlling the puck. It was Mastro Pietro with a couple of good looks there from Salem State. Already with 3 goals in 2 games on the year. Mastro Pietro has been a strong addition to the Salem State team here in semester number 2. Shot sent a little bit wide there off the stick of Brandon Platt. Salem State still fighting for it, down to 30 seconds to go on the man advantage. They have had a minute 47 to start the period. It's controlled by Salem State along the near boards. Puck sent down low, but it's intercepted there. A great steal by Tyler Bishop, who clears the zone, sends it all the way back behind Rutliff, and the Beacons will be able to get a change. Back in behind the Beacons. Goal once again as we're down to 7 seconds to go on this power play. It's cleared by Houston. Giving chase this time is Travis Daniel. Daniel's going to be first to the puck with Ian Canny all over him. Canny pushes him hard into the boards as Daniel will try to pin it down there and keep it there to allow his teammates to get it onto the ice. It's McIntyre right behind him as Daniel tries to get it. Not there in time, and Houston will have to try to track it down and draw the icing call. Houston is there first and sends a large amount of snow up into the air, and that'll draw an icing as Houston might have been showing off a bit there.
Yeah, a little bit of a show off there by Houston, but great penalty kill by the Beacons. Did exactly what we talked about a little bit earlier, how denying entry into the zone, having sticks in lanes, and really denying any single big opportunity to score there.
It'll be the first line out there. Nathan Milam joining Peter McIntyre and Travis Daniel. He'll go up against the opposing number 9. No, it'll be number 6, Mark McDonald, as Eric DeFelice is thrown out of the faceoff dot. McDonald comes away with the win. Beacons fighting for the puck as it was lost there for a couple of players up in the lights. It's Bishop keeping it in. Bishop sending it down low, looking for McIntyre. Instead, it's Daniel. McIntyre with the puck. A very dangerous player as a Salem State player goes to the ground, looking for Milam, tapped away. A great job by the defenseman. It's on the far blue line now, and it's knocked down by Eric DeFelice. A nice job by the forward to get in the way of that Beacons effort. Salem State pins a Beacons player along the Salem State bench. Shot doesn't get through. Nice block by the Beacons. Second shot flutters in, and Andrews is able to cover up with 7:23 to go before the team shift. 17:23 to go in the period.
Just a nice block shot there. Secondary rebound came out. Andrews was just in great position to make that save there.
A very nice play by Zach Andrews, who coming into the period had already made a lot of saves, 27 to be 27 to be completely truthful, and now he's close to 30 as Jeremy Finger will send that one down behind the Salem State bench, as that was just barely not an icing. Puck will be dumped down to the Beacons end, and if Houston can get there once again, it will go for an icing. As one thing we haven't mentioned while we've got a stoppage is the lookup line. You can barely see it because of the amount of skating that's been done on this ice and the fact that the ice isn't at its greatest quality, but just about a foot off the boards, they have this line that goes across the entire length of the ice to allow players to know where they are on the ice and to avoid any collisions head on, especially into the boards. Jim, as someone who obviously cares a lot about people's health, as Beacon's chance is intercepted and knocked away, as a certified nurse just finishing up your program, what does that mean to you to see player safety becoming more and more of a talking point and an issue that people care about here, not just at Fenway, but at the lower levels and here at the collegiate level as well?
Yeah, I think that concussions have been a huge thing that's been highlighted recently, and now you're talking about a way to limit that and also to limit other spinal cord injuries that many prominent players have advocated for in the past. This is a very inexpensive way to, train players at this level, but also as they're, growing up in mites and peewees and all the way up through the ranks, a way to establish a way to understand that they're close to the boards and to prevent any kind of injury that may happen. And I think that the cost is so cheap that it's one of those things that's really a no-brainer to help improve safety in hockey.
You talk about the mites games. While they weren't publicized anyway near as much as the collegiate games and even the high school games, there were some mite games out here back in late December as the Beacons draw yet another icing call. It seems like Salem State, maybe it's just some tired legs, but that's 3 icings already within the first 3:41 of the period, something we didn't see much of in the first couple periods. Is Salem State with the face-off win. A nice job by Minter tracking that one down to put some pressure on the Beacons as Salem State with some tired legs out there. It's McIntyre going 2-on-1. He has Daniel. Big save by Sutliff. Daniel is in there. Puck comes loose, and it's out to the far boards where it's tracked down there by Cody Dixon. Dixon tries to kick it over to McIntyre. Now it's Daniel with it. Daniel sends it through. Shot, score! It's McIntyre. He puts it home off the pass from Daniel, and that's 2 on the day for Peter McIntyre and a 3-2 Beacons lead.
Really great job there by Travis Daniel to read the defenseman of Salem State. The defenseman of Salem State didn't get enough on it to get it out. Travis blocks it down behind the net, makes a great play out front, a great offensive attempt, and resulted in a goal there. It was unbelievable.
Daniel with the backhand pass, it bounced high, and McIntyre with an acrobatic play to knock that one down while keeping his stick low enough as he chips it just underneath the armpit. What a goal by Peter McIntyre, his team leading 14th of the season, his second of the day, and McIntyre gives UMass Boston their third 1-goal advantage as the Beacons lead 3-2 here with 5:41 to go. And what we're assuming is the Beacons are going with the win right now. They have the advantage. They played a lot better in the second period with the win, so it would be a huge key to have the win going into this second 10-minute segment of period number 3. That's the way it looks like they're going to set up this period with the two teams trading sides after 10 minutes of play. The clock counting down to from 10-0 rather from 20-0 as we're here in period number 3, and that puck pops up into the benches and we'll get a stoppage. McIntyre is going to get most of the credit on that goal, but you talked about Daniel setting up, reading the defense. What a tremendous play not to look for the shot there on the near side and read a couple of defensemen collapsing in, finding McIntyre for what could be one of the Beacons' biggest goals of the season if you look back in March and April, May, and say, well, what a great season, what a great finish here at Fenway, at least what we're setting up to. Big shot there from Sitterly, and this time Sutliff making sure that he covers up as he stopped the initial shot and then covered up to make sure that the referees would give him the whistle.
Yeah, back to the goal, Seth. Just a great play all around, which is why we talked about earlier in the broadcast that the first line is so instrumental in the points and spreading it amongst all members of the first line. Right there is a great example of that, where a hard work play from Trav Daniel sets up a beautiful goal, and by Peter McIntyre. So it's just like you said, it's a team game, team effort, but that first line's working on all cylinders right now.
Well, and it's the first assist for UMass Boston today. First 2 goals unassisted from McIntyre and Sitterly. McIntyre, remember, on that 2-on-1 had Trav Daniel to the near side, and that sort of set up enough room to get off that tremendous shot that beat Ryan Sutliff to open up the scoring today. So Travis Daniel finding a way to factor into this game in several ways. The Beacons lead 3-2 as the faceoff is won by UMass Boston. Initial shot from Frankie DeAugustine, kicked back. Chance through the slot. Shot by Bishop doesn't get through. It's kicked wide, and now Bishop will fight to keep it in. Bishop sending it around the boards looking for Sitterly. Sitterly controls, sends it all the way through. He's got, it looks like, Cornell up top, and Cornell's shot sent a little bit high. DeAugustine controls it. The Beacons looking for a 2-goal lead in what would be the first for either side today. DeFelice to the near side. It's kicked off the stick of Perpich and out towards center ice. The Beacons with numbers if they can control. Unfortunately, they can't. It's Perpich skating into the Beacons end. Shot blocked there by Tyler Bishop. Bounces through and all the way to the near boards where the Beacons will have the first touch. Sent forward, looking for Jeremy Finger. Finger gets around one Salem State player. Finger skates in from the circle, has his shot knocked away there. A very weak shot from Jeremy Finger as he did a tremendous job to fight through a couple Salem State players. Couldn't get much on the shot, though. It will be UMass Boston with it. Cody Dixon sending it all the way to the blue line, looking for Albie Daly. Daly couldn't get a stick on it, though, and we will get an icing at the 4:09 mark.
Just like you said, Seth, I think that tired legs are becoming a factor here. A lot of icings in this period that we haven't seen over the course of this game so far. So it will be interesting going forward with another 14 minutes plus in this game to see how that factors into it.
Face off just to the left of Zach Andrews. It's won by the Beacons and controlled by Cody Dixon. The Beacons with some tired legs on this shift after the icing as Daly has it. Daly trying to send it towards center ice as Frankie DeAugustine out there along with the third line. Unable to control it. It's Houston sending it along the boards D to D over to Daly, who's been out there for quite a while. Daly just trying to get back to the bench, unable to do so as Salem State's forecheck is picked up over the last couple of minutes. The Beacons with a 3-2 lead thanks to a Peter McIntyre goal just minutes ago, his second of the game, as that one bounces wide of Zach Andrews. McIntyre scored 2 goals each in the Beacons' 2 Codfish Bowl tournament games. He's now got 2 in 3 straight games as UMass Boston has really picked up where they left off in December. Back-to-back wins to start 2014, looking to make it 3 in a row, although Salem State definitely the toughest opponent they played here to open up the new year. It's Harvey sending it forward for Daly. Daly has been looking like he's on a double shift at this point. Now it's Colucci coming in. Colucci looking to track down a Salem State player all the way up to the boards. Miller providing some pressure on Alex Minter. This top line for Salem State has been so good all year. Haven't been able to get on the board today, though, as it's been the second line, Eric DeFelice, and the third line right winger, Chris Mastro Pietro, with the goals for the Vikings. Beacons fighting to come up with the puck in their own zone. It's Harvey. Harvey, backhand pass, intercepted, though, by Minter. Minter out of Peabody, Massachusetts, looking to find John Needham, his first-line winger and former teammate back in the day in juniors. As the Vikings gain control and the Beacons get 5 fresh skaters out there. McIntyre flies out onto the ice. He's a huge presence that has really made his presence known. It's Daniel over to McIntyre. The Beacons with a chance for a 3-on-2. As that pass a little bit strong for Miller, and now you can see the Beacons are changing up their lines based off of who's got the freshest legs. Miller goes down in a huge pile as it's controlled there by Christopher Farage. Down to 1:59 before the two teams will change. 11:59 to go in regulation. Beacons still fighting to keep it in the zone, and they do. It's Daniel sending it all the way across for Houston. Houston sends it towards net, and the Beacons will be called offsides. And that's really the first time I've had a question about a referee's call. It looked like John might have kept it in the zone.
Yeah, it looked like Houston made the play on the line there, but obviously the referee is right there, or the linesman rather, and was able to make that call, whether it was right or wrong.
As this crew has, it's got to be a thrill for them as well, but it's an unenviable task. So cold, so many conditions out there. It makes it hard to really focus on all the things that you normally have to focus on that take up the referee's full attention. As that shot sent a little bit high of the net, the Beacons trying to keep it in the zone. Takes a awkward bounce there for Dan Cornell as he backed off, waiting for the puck. Now it's McIntyre unable to keep it in, and the Beacons were waiting or avoiding the offsides call there as they backed off. Puck stuck right at the red line. Now it's Cornell sending it forward, looking for Connor McStravick. Haven't seen a lot of the fourth line here in period number 3. Maybe they're sort of waiting to use them as that shot a little bit wide from Travis Daniel. He was looking for his Fenway goal. What a souvenir that would be, the game-winning goal or just a goal on a puck that you scored at Fenway Park. Puck bouncing behind the boards. Beacons fighting for it as Salem State controls behind the net. Puck sent in on Andrews that bounced towards Andrews and then came away as it's Daniel with it. Daniel has a player out in front in Cam Harvey. Harvey can't knock it into the end as Salem State controls for an instant. Puck loose at center ice, and Harvey will dump it down with 37 seconds to go before the halfway point of period number 3 and what we expect to hear as a buzzer. Dixon can't control that one. A late chance here for Salem State. It's Andrew Betancourt. Betancourt leaves it off for the trailer, but a little bit too strong for the trailers. The Beacons will clear the zone with 20 seconds to go before the two teams switch sides. Now it's controlled by Bishop. Bishop biding his time with 13 seconds left before this buzzer. It's controlled by UMass Boston. They'll dump it in on Sutliff. Sutliff allows the rebound, but gets it over to a Salem State teammate. Bouncing puck here with 4 seconds to go before what we assume is a buzzer, and they will, in fact, use that buzzer. So 3-2 here. The two teams will switch sides. I'm assuming they're going to work on the ice as they've done at the midway point of each period, and it's almost like a mini intermission for these two coaches. UMass Boston, they killed that big penalty right out of the break.
Yeah, I think that having played for Coach Blau, I know that the first line has been playing very well today. And so I think you'll see definitely a lot more of them as well. But I also think that you might see broken up lines that you haven't seen all over this game due to the fact that some guys' legs are tired, and Coach Blau may deem other people playing a little bit better than others. So you may see a combination of those guys that are fresh out there in different line combinations.
As the Beacons send the second line out there to start period number 2. It was in the Beacons zone, at least for an instant, but now it's out to center ice where Kyle Phelan has it. Phelan over to Minner. Phelan gets it back. Phelan coming in on Andrews. Sends a shot. Andrews quickly pushes that one away. Now a second shot sent towards the net, but it's knocked away off the skate there of Kit Sidderly. Puck out towards the blue line. Shot sent, but not all the way through. A nice job defensively by John Houston. A second shot goes wide. Salem State immediately providing pressure here on Zach Andrews, trailing by 1 with just 9:18 remaining in regulation. Beacons finally come away with the puck, and they'll look to get the change, as the big thing now is that the Beacons bench will be closer to the goal. It's more likely that you will get those changes here for both teams. It's a chance for Daniel as Daniel tried to leave it off for Sidderly, as Daniel's out there with the second line. Sidderly, Daniel, and DeAugustine. As Daniel out there instead of Jeremy Finger. Chance going the other way. It's Chris Mastro-Pietro already with one goal, and a great job to get the stick down by Tyler Bishop as he knocks that puck high up into right field. That puck might have just barely landed in foul territory. And the Beacons will take it as they'll have a face-off just to the left of Zach Andrews. Every face-off becoming more and more vital for these two teams. It'll be Milam versus Christopher Farage here, and it's a big win by Farage. Or a big win by Milam, rather. Over to Cam Harvey. Now it's Daniel. Daniel trying to send it forward for Milam. Milam with some great hands there to come away with the puck. Milam fighting for it along the boards over to Peter McIntyre. Instead, it's Salem State with the chance to break out of the zone. Farage, though, overskates that puck, and he'll be forced to dump it into the Beacons end. And now there's a big hit as number 17, Mastro-Pietro, tries to pin a Beacons player into his own bench. It was Travis Daniel absorbing the big blow, but he appears to be okay. Now Harvey gets hit hard into the boards. 3 Beacons go after the puck, but Salem State able to come away with it. Sent along the boards over the hands of a couple of players. Another big hit coming from Salem State as they've tried to get a bit more physical over the past couple minutes. 8 minutes remaining in regulation here at Fenway Park. It's UMass Boston 3, Salem State 2. Which team will be able to come away with a victory here at Fenway Park in the first ever game for either of these two teams at the historic vaunted venue. An upcoming penalty against, looks like UMass Boston for a cross-check. And that is a huge momentum shift as it'll be Milam heading to the box with 7:43 to go. You hate to have that happen, especially to Milam, one of your best penalty killers.
Definitely. One of the keys is obviously to stay out of the box, and this is just given an opportunity to Salem State to get equal here. They've produced good opportunities on the power play in the past couple power plays, and I think it'll be similar here. The Beacons just need to bear down, block shots, and get in lanes here.
Salem State 1 for 4 on the power play today, but Eric DeFelice there, one of their 2 goal scorers, unable to settle the puck on that one as it bounces over his stick and out towards neutral ice. Bringing the puck in that time was Cameron Banwell. Banwell had an interception. The Beacons clear once again as Salem State yet to set up here on their first power play opportunity, the first for either team in period number 3. The puck sent into the Beacons end. Dan Cornell will try to clear, and he is successful, sending that one off the hand of Brad Jones and all the way back to Ryan Sutliff. Sutliff hasn't seen a lot of action here in period number 3, but really neither goalie has, as the Beacons with the lone goal of the period on a goal from Peter McIntyre, his second of the game. Bishop looks to find a Beacon, and he does so as the clear that time brought upon by Mark Greenhouse. UMass Boston doing a nice job of getting fresh skaters out there down to 6:48, a minute 4 to go in the man advantage for Salem State. Bringing it in now, it's Minter. Minter with the puck on the near side looking for some help. It's Bishop all over him. Now John Houston will take over in terms of beating down on Minter, and it's another Salem State player slipping to the ground and unable to keep it in. Salem State has struggled to really set up anything, and it's been based off of the ice. You have to admit it. Unable to keep their footing and unable to settle pucks as that shot sent wide, knocked a little bit by Zach Andrews as Gabriel Cromp was looking to just dump it and instead sent a rather enticing looking shot on net as Cromp sends that one off the back of the leg of Michael Kuhn. 20 seconds to go. Salem State looking for their first shot of this power play as the Beacons have it in their own end. It's to the near side for Bishop over his stick on the bouncing puck, but he's able to backhand that one out of the zone down to 8 seconds to go, and we won't get a stop. It's just a lot of players heading towards the bench as Salem State controls a backhand pass into the Beacons end where it's controlled by Brandon Platt. Platt loses the puck and McStravic's able to clear, and we're back to 5-on-5 skating. The Beacons kill off the penalty, a huge penalty kill there. Now it's Greenhouse shot, big save by Sutliff, and he doesn't give up a rebound on that one. 5:32 to go, and that penalty kill might have been the most impressive for either team in today's game.
Yeah, it absolutely was. There was a very minimal shots. Entry to the zone was difficult. And obviously a great opportunity at the end of that penalty there to get a shot on net and an offensive draw here.
We'll see Milam, who's one of the freshest skaters out there for either team after spending 2 minutes in the box, come into the faceoff dot. He's one of the best Beacons players on the faceoff dot. Immediate backhand chance from Daniel, but he sends the shot a little bit wide. The puck all the way into the Beacons end. It's a foot race, and it looks like Cam Harvey will be there first. They wave off the icing, though. Some rather surprising twist on that one as Harvey was certainly expecting to earn the ice. Now it's Harvey once again with it. Harvey, who has been touted as one of the Beacons' best skating players, forward or defenseman, at least on last year's roster, controls the puck once again. He's been out there on a long shift, though, and he's stripped of the puck. Betancourt with it. Betancourt leaves it off for DeFelice. Big save by Andrews, and the puck comes loose, but onto the stick of Milam. It's controlled by Daniel. McIntyre looking to go 1-on-2. Now it's 2-on-2 with Daniel into the zone. McIntyre waits, bides his time, sending it over and behind the net this time for Daniel. Daniel, with a defenseman all over him, looks to find McIntyre, slips it out of the zone, though, this time, as we're down to 4:38. The Beacons, though, killing some seconds away on that. Very good-looking rush, unable to get a good shot off against Sutliff, but still providing some pressure against Salem State. Finger unable to find the handle, but it's dumped back in that time by the defenseman in Tyler Bishop. Bishop has had his name called quite a few times today. He's had a very good game after having a great weekend for UMass Boston with 5 points in 2 games.
Yes, it's great to see a young defenseman on this team stepping up. With the loss of 2 key guys last year, veteran defensemen Tim Niedzalak and Rob Florentino, it's huge to see younger guys stepping up and filling those roles and really making their presence known.
Big save by Zach Andrews. The defenseman goes to the ground. 2-on-1 chance. Shot. Big save from Sutliff, and he's able to hang on, as that would have been heartbreaking if you're a Salem State fan. Cameron Banwell, you could see him losing his footing on the back heel, and he eventually went down. Frankie DeAugustine disgusted with himself. Going back to your point, it wasn't just 2, it was 3.
Yeah.
Steve Weston,
right.
another key senior defenseman, as the Beacons had 3 slots to fill. Big save there by Sutliff. And now a funny connection. Ryan Weston, his cousin, a first-year head coach with this team, a former Boston University Terrier, one of 2 new assistant coaches on this team. As there's been a lot of turnover in the coaching staff after head coach Peter Belial was named New England Coach of the Year. Well, a couple of assistants have gone calling other spots, as Andrews gloves that one and is forced to hold on to it as Salem State charged in. 3:37 to go, and this coaching staff has done a really nice job adjusting, because just like a pair of defensemen or a line of 3 players, you have to learn your chemistry, you have to learn what works best, and it's definitely been a learning process for the 4.
Definitely a transition from junior hockey to college, and to lose guys that have Rob Florentino now playing in the East Coast Hockey League. Guys who go into professional hockey. So to lose guys like that, and to have new guys step up and have just the same skill set and ability to learn on the fly is just speaks volumes about this program and where they're headed in the future.
Andrews with a big save on Brandon Platt. They go the other way. It's Mike Miller. Miller with it, trying to get around a defenseman, this time in Brad Jones. Miller still fighting for the puck, joined by another Beacon, trying to get the number on that guy. And he heads down to the ground. It was Albie Daly fighting for it to the last second. Chasing it down this time is Cornell. Cornell, the Northeastern University transfer, one of 2 Division I transfers on this Beacons roster. Beacons trying to send it into the zone. It's McStravick chasing it down. McStravick working against Strzelowski. Strzelowski doesn't win this battle as McStravick gets knocked down hard to the ground, and Connor McStravick will draw the power play for the Beacons. A huge penalty against Salem State, 2:41 to go. That really limits your chances on what you can do the rest of the way. At most, you can pull the goalie and have that 6-on-5 advantage with 41 seconds to go. And with the way this game is going, Bill O'Neill might have wanted to pull him with 2, maybe with 1:30. Either way, that's the kind of play that Connor McStravick can draw. As you see it there, a clear cross-check or a boarding, depending on what the referees choose. DeFelice, the goal scorer, he's in the box, 2:41 to go. How much of a momentum shift is that, knowing that Salem State was going to have that extra man in however much time, but it wasn't going to be too long from now?
It definitely changes the game here. I mean, you're limited in your ability here, your opportunity to create, but also at the same time, with the ice being the way it is, it's a good time to be present of mind that you can't really get too creative for the Beacons here, making passes to the point that can end up ultimately hurting you. So just being careful, getting shots to the net, and attacking rebounds would be the key here.
That's a great point, Jim. You really don't want to give up an odd man rush going the other way. Salem State does have a few shorthanded goals this year, as it's Frankie DeAugustine skating in, and another save by Sutliff, as DeAugustine's had 2 grade A chances in this period, unable to beat Ryan Sutliff, who should be given a ton of credit. Right now, on the unofficial shot totals, it's 30-30, as Sutliff has done a tremendous job in net against the Beacons. He's had a lot of point-blank chances that he's been able to turn aside. 2:17 to go now, as into the face-off dot is Michael Kuhn, unable to win it. Kuhn sent down to the ground as the Beacons able to keep the puck in the zone. It's Kuhn with it on the far side. Kuhn dangles away from one defenseman, has a second one on him there, still fighting for it, doing a great job of keeping the puck in the zone and fighting for it, as now he's joined by Jeremy Finger. Finger able to control it as he's ridden into the boards, and it looks like Salem State will finally be able to get it, but unable to keep control. The Beacons doing a great job on the forecheck. Great look there to the near side, but Milam unable to find the puck on the one-timer chance. Salem State into the zone 2-on-2, and they're called offsides, as it was 22 Chad Goodwin going in with another player, and then it was Goodwin taken down after the play. The Salem State broadcast tourist to our right, looking for the call, maybe begging for it, but not going to get it this time, as we'll see a face-off just outside the Beacons' end with 1:43 to go. A 3-2 Beacons lead. UMass Boston on the man advantage for 1:02 as Ryan Sutliff continues to camp out in his goal.
It's a very important face-off here. Just trying to gain access into the zone and deny any opportunity for Salem State to equalize this game.
Milam unable to win it, but at least knocks it towards the Salem State net as Salem State will take it behind their own goal. It's Keaton Cashin absorbing a big blow there from Milam. Milam knocks down the attempted clear, at least initially, and now Jeremy Finger is pushed into the Salem State end as he was waiting for his teammates to get back on side. So we'll see another stoppage. This time the faceoff will come on the other side of the neutral zone, just outside the Salem State end. A minute 19 to go, 38 seconds to go. How aware do you have to be right now of the time on the clock? In a more cavernous rink like this, you won't necessarily be able to hear your goalie stick in not allowing Salem State to go the other way. As now we'll get the timeout. Nope, we'll just send it to the near side. Assuming wrong on that one, as it'll be Milam winning the faceoff clean this time. Flipped up and into the Salem State end as UMass Boston no hurry to chase. Travis Daniel, the lone player, forechecking there. Now it's McIntyre joining him as the Beacons with a fourth goal here could easily put this game away. Puck comes loose all the way through the crease, but nothing doing there. McIntyre already with 2 goals as he sits up top, trying to hold on to the puck. Now it's number 2, Cam Harvey, sliding it back behind the net. Big hit from Milam, who's already been called for 1 penalty. You got a close-up of Nathan Milam and a Salem State player. Gets behind John Houston here. 1 second to go, and Salem State will be back to 5-on-5 skating and make it 6-on-5 as Ryan Sutliff heads out of his net and onto the box. We're 6-on-5 for the final 33 seconds in this one. The Beacons attempting to clear Daniel. Can he get there? He does, and he'll clear the zone. A great job by Travis Daniel that time. As now Salem State will have to take it the length of the ice. 22 seconds to go. The pass on target this time onto the stick of Phelan. Phelan leaving it off for DeFelice. DeFelice leaves it off for a player just barely into the zone. And Daniel once again able to clear. Connor McStravick backhand chance. Yes! Connor McStravick, the empty net goal, just barely making it into the near post. And the Philadelphia, Pennsylvania native has wrapped this one up in a bow. It's a 4-2 Beacons lead with 8.7 seconds to go, and you know he'll be remembering that for the rest of his life.
Absolutely. Great job for the Beacons to get it out of their zone in the first point, and then just a great finish on a no-look backhand from center ice.
Just the 3rd goal of Connor McStravick's career, the 3rd in 19 games, and McStravick a huge fist pump after he cleared the bench that time, as McStravick gives the Beacons a very, very strong lead here at 4-2 with 8.7 seconds to go. The faceoff is won by the Beacons. They send it into the Salem State end, and Salem State will have one last chance, and that will do it. UMass Boston, a 4-2 winner here at Fenway Park. The Beacons taking home the Citi Frozen Fenway game, their first victory over Salem State since 1999. And you have to feel like this is a big weight off the Beacons' shoulders. So much made about this game, about what it meant for the university, and to come away with the victory, especially showing so much grit, losing a 1-goal lead on 2 separate occasions, coming away with the big victory here in the 3rd.
Yeah, it's difficult. It's ups and downs, and this game was no different. They looked a little bit sluggish coming out of the gate, but they made it up. They got a few power plays that kind of turned the tide there in the first period, and I don't think they ever looked back from there, kind of controlling the play the rest of the way. Icing on the cake with the empty netter there, but not enough can be said about Zach Andrews' game tonight. Just a lot of big saves, and also give credit to Ryan Sutliff. Also, a lot of big saves on his point. 2 goaltenders were pretty much stole the show today, but just a big effort back and forth for both teams.
As UMass Boston came in averaging 5.17 goals per game, you thought the ice might slow them down, the wind might slow them down. In the end, it was Ryan Sutliff. Gave up the 4 goals, one of those being an empty netter, but realistically, UMass Boston pulling out a gritty, hard-fought game, and that was the question about this team. So many strong skaters, but did they have the defensive prowess? Did they have the heart, the fight, the toughness? And that's the one thing I think you as an alum can really speak to. What did you see out of this Beacons team today, playing in temperatures below 0, playing in against a team that really can get under your skin at points, and doing a tremendous job today and coming away with the victory?
Yeah, I think it just speaks volumes about Coach Belisle and his coaching staff, and kind of the prowess that they want to set for not only for the past teams but also the current team. Just that hard work, gritty. Even though the talent level is so high on this team, it doesn't mean that you can't work hard, and that's something that Coach Belial has always been about. And it's evident here tonight where they were kind of back and forth, with ups and downs, and they were played strong hockey, talented hockey, and kind of got the goals, timely goals when they needed them, and pulled out the win.
And you have to give a lot of credit to Bill O'Neill's squad, not able to come away with the victory today, but 4 of their last 6 have been victories. Their only losses against 2 nationally ranked teams, the Beacons and Babson College, 2 of the premier teams in the ECAC East.